Hi, Carl Richard here, and welcome. And today I will give you 3 tips on how to lead your child to better behaviors and habits. Why do I give you this topic? I'm a tennis coach. I have got 30 years of teaching tennis experience, and I also taught school for 8 years, and I'm also a proud parent of my daughter who's first year college right now at Penn State, and my son who's a 13-year-old basketball, baseball, computer games player / whatever. So got a little bit of experience in these areas, and I have some things that really have helped me, especially on the court, and some things I'm trying at home too, so with various different degrees of success. I'm not perfect, but I'm just gonna give you some hints and little hacks which have been very helpful for me. First of all, you will need in this little instructional piece that I'm trying to give you a little piece of paper, or you can note it down in your head, but a piece of paper and a pen or pencil just to write down a few things. What we're trying to do now is we're going to make a list of 3 habits or behaviors that you think would be important for your son or daughter. I'm going to use, in this whole video, I'm going to use my son as an example because I want to impart some things to him. And I'm going to use him as an example, but choose something out of school, choose something in one of the sports that they do, and maybe a behavioral thing, a social thing. Why do each of the 3 things? Because sport involves all of them, to some degree, but it's good to get a little bit of from everything. If you just focus too much on sport, I like to think of it the whole person and help them. Or the person, and it's also good examples because they cross. It's transferable from one to the other sphere. The first example I'm going to use for Keegan is my son. Let's say I wanted to teach him perseverance or more follow through. The fact that he never gives up. I want him to have this habit in life because sometimes success comes to the person who has perseverance, somebody who follows through with what they say, somebody who doesn't give up even in times when they're tough. It's not to be silly and keep on hitting your head against the wall, but just a little bit more perseverance instead of just bailing when times get tough. The second thing is to give 100% effort, meaning truly being there and really being present and giving 100% effort. That would also be a great life skill, because that is something he is in control of. And the third, respect for others, but also for himself. So it's a dual-edged sword. So those are the 3 things I would like to focus on, let's say, helping my son, Keegan, and impart some, not wisdom, but some little helpful things that me looking back on my life, I wish I had more of, let's say, these kind of qualities. So perseverance. Try and find personal stories that your son or daughter has exhibited these kind of traits. Okay, so first of all, Keegan loves computer games. And this last summer, he has mastered a few computer games, whether it be Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is very similar to these shooting RPG games or whatever online, but he really mastered, and he took a few hours almost every single day, and he worked on his skills, and he was able to reach a certain level. Now that showed perseverance, and a lot of times he tried to get to a certain thing and he got knocked down, and he tried and he tried and he tried, and in a period of a few months, with a lot of hours, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it as a parent, he actually persevered and he got good at what he was practicing. Now, that being said, I'm not a big fan of computer games, but he exhibited perseverance. And going forward in the future, maybe computers are going to be more involved in his life anyway. But I'd like to link it to his schoolwork. And so often I would find out and write down some examples of how he did well in computer games. What are the things he showed perseverance? When he was learning how to catch in baseball, and we were throwing the ball up very high in the sky, and he was learning to catch. And he spent a lot of time, even with his mom, actually sometimes more times with his mom than me because I was coaching tennis. But he was learning how to catch to become better at catching so he could really catch and now he loves being first base. So there's a lot of benefits to creating stories in your son's life where he exhibited perseverance. And next time in passing, if you keep on talking about how perseverance he has and how things, and just the fact that he sees himself as somebody who has perseverance, it's very easy to start linking it to his schoolwork, linking it to finishing projects, and sometimes making the assumption and linking it together, saying, hey, listen, see how hard you worked on your computer game or your Counter-Strike mobile? You got to those experience points in no time. I know you'll finish this project soon and you'll have it done, and because you really persevere. And I know it's a lot of hard work, but you'll do it just like you did the computer games. It's easy. And you just link the two. I know it sounds a stretch, but just the fact that you link the two and you make him proud of the process. You link the process of perseverance, that habit, that belief system, that he personifies perseverance. That is kind of linked to his self-image, and that's a great tool that you could do. The next thing is 100% effort. Find his story that he gave 100% effort. Now, sometimes you can illustrate just something immediately in the past. Let's say whether it be basketball, he was practicing hoops, and he used to call me every time I used to come back from one summer, and even in the winter sometimes. He wants me to play horse outside in the street, and we have a basketball net out there and a ball, and he's playing, and even with the neighbors, and he's always practicing, giving 100% effort, and till late at night, even when it's dark, you hear the dun, dun, dun. So he is giving 100% effort outside. Now, like the other example, slowly link it to schoolwork. So when he does the schoolwork, give it 100%, be totally present, do the best that you can, and then move on. If you give 100% and really do it as well as you can, sometimes you can do it quicker, and it becomes a habit, and you give a high quality product, and then he moves on. Don't just do it to just get it done. Try and actually give 100% effort, do the best that you can. Don't have to be a perfectionist, but do the best that you can and then move on. And that's kind of like what I want him to do, is just to find stories in his life where he really tried hard. Let's say a school project. If he really tried hard in a project and he got an A, link that into his personal history, that he becomes a person that always gives 100% effort. And that'll be awesome. Because remember, effort is purely a decision. And once he makes that conscious decision once or twice and you link it to him, it becomes a habit. And that habit, oh, what a great habit to have. The next thing is respect. And respect for himself and others. This is another example that I wanted him to have, because it's just respecting boundaries, but also how he communicates to other people, and how much manners his manners and how he talks to people. And very often, sometimes he's abrupt and he talks to you, or me personally as his parent. Sometimes he would be abrupt, or he's a little rude to me, and I'm a little upset and I want to jump on the bandwagon. But I've seen quite a few examples where he's very well mannered and very well behaved, talking to other adults and other parents when I'm not around, and I catch it, whether looking through the window or whatever, where he's very respectful, he looks in the eyes, he shakes hands, and so I'm very proud. But that I can link into his story, so then I reinforce it. So I want to link that to even be respectful to me, even to me and in front of me, not always when I'm not around. I also want him to link respect to others to self-respect, respect his own time, respect his own energy, respect boundaries, respect his sister, stuff like that. So it's all linked together, but the whole process that I'm talking about is not attaching to outcomes. I'm attaching the belief system or the process. I want him to be respectful. And so I'm using the power of story to really link the system or the process or the belief that I want him to have to him, and through his past it kind of becomes him, and that is the story you want to do. Now, unfortunately, this can be good or bad, and unfortunately most of us do have negative stories, and us being humans, we always find it easier to find the negative stuff. I really want you to stop looking at the negative and really bring up the positive and link the positive. The worst thing you can do is just bring up the negative all the time. So try and avoid doing that. Don't highlight the negatives and don't create negative stories. Really use positive stories when talking about your children. Another thing too is these are some very important hacks. Information overheard is not filtered. When you're telling your son, oh, you are exhibiting so much perseverance, you can do this. When I'm talking to him, he knows dad is trying to teach him something, and because you're trying to teach him something and give him something, he knows it, and he realizes you're pushing something onto him, and his natural tendency is to resist and kind of ignore what you're saying. But if you are talking to somebody else and he is overhearing it, he is not going to filter the information as much as he normally does. And if somebody else now is talking to you or talking to somebody else about him and he overhears that, that's even less unfiltered. That is like taken as gospel. Like that is the truth, so make sure, you can even get some friends in and just talk it up a little bit or whatever the case may be. It's a very powerful communication technique. Now, the only situation sometimes it's a little sketchy is when grandparents are oohing and ahhing over their grandchildren. So, if granddad or grandmom says something, of course, they love their grandchildren. It's way above there's nothing negative in their grandchildren. So, it's a tough sell. So I think even grandparents, when they say things, the children know that it's coming from a place of love, so they might not take it as gospel. Anyway, there we go. I hope it was helpful to you. I enjoyed preparing this, and I will hope to bring more in the future. And hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, and I look forward to sending out another one next week. Bye-bye.